People you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
The Early Line with Mario and Musso. Mario and Musso have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And a good Monday afternoon. Welcome in, Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez. We have your early line, Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp on the audio and video boards. Glad you're along with us as well. Plenty to get to today, obviously. Daily spread here momentarily. What are we looking at on tonight's slate across Major League Baseball, specifically? The New Orleans Saints. We'll get you a recap of practice today, as well as some thoughts on preseason game number 2, a 20-10 loss to the Green Bay Packers up in Lambeau Field. The Saints will close out the preseason schedule later this weekend against the Los Angeles Chargers in the Superdome. Also, they had practice in the Superdome, Mario. I know you were there on Sunday. I'd love some thoughts on that as well. And LSU, we're actually in Tiger Stadium for a practice on Saturday. Off yesterday, off again today. They'll hit the practice field again tomorrow. But we'll get you some thoughts, obviously, on all the news surrounding the Tigers this past weekend as well. How are you, Mario?
I'm awesome, Musso. Had a really good weekend and not too much practice left, like just a couple weeks until we get into the real games for both LSU and the Saints. So that's really exciting.
Speaking of real games, I kind of forgot this in the open too. There's real college football this weekend. It's week 0, man. We got games heading in starting this weekend. Florida State, one of them, they'll face Duquesne to open up their season, and was already looking at the depth chart. It was posted earlier today for Florida State. So if you want to go take a look at that, that's all over Twitter. It's not hard to find.
Yep, that Vanderbilt-Hawaii game's coming up. And for those of us that had the over on Vanderbilt's win total, already sweating that a little bit here on Monday.
Too many people are fired up for this Vanderbilt-Hawaii game. Okay, a buddy of mine Saturday night was trying to talk me into getting hype and watching Vanderbilt-Hawaii. And I'm just like, I'm not watching Vanderbilt-Hawaii. I'll watch Florida State and Duquesne. That is of importance to LSU.
Yes.
I don't care if Vanderbilt beats Hawaii. I don't care if Hawaii beats Vanderbilt.
You don't care. But from a win total standpoint, you saw me do a whole segment on it. Like, if Vanderbilt is going to get to 3, they absolutely have to get that game. So I know a lot of people like me, that is why they care. Because if Vanderbilt can't get it done against Hawaii, then you might as well throw that ticket down the toilet. Then
I don't think many people would be surprised, Mario. If Vanderbilt can't get it done against Hawaii, I don't think many people would be surprised. Give me Florida State, Duquesne, for the obvious reasons. Give me Northwestern and Nebraska and Dublin. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
there's plenty more besides Vanderbilt and Hawaii, but people are fired up about it. So
hell yeah, I'm people.
All right, you're people. Well, let's get started. Daily Spread, presented by Suspense Games.
Daily.
Daily Spread. What are Mario and Musso watching tonight?
I'm talking about big money. Real big money.
This is our Daily Spread. Presented by Suspense Games.
The Atlanta Braves, they travel up to Pittsburgh tonight. They will face the Pirates. Your total in this game is 9, a 6:05 first pitch Central Time. Braves favored about -$2 here tonight. Jake Odorizzi on the mound for Atlanta. You got Contreras going for Pittsburgh, and the Braves, they're hot. Winners of 11 of their last 13. That includes 3 out of 4 from the Mets and 2 out of 3 from the Astros this past weekend. So it's not like they've been doing it against the bottom of Major League Baseball either. You look at Odorizzi, hasn't been great for Atlanta since coming over from Houston. Was really roughed up last time against the Mets. But this Pirates lineup, it ain't the New York Mets, so it should be a really nice bounce back spot for Odorizzi. Contreras for the Pirates has been knocked around pretty good in 2 of his last 3 starts. The Brewers got him for 7 earned runs. The Red Sox got him for 4. Braves have a better lineup than both of those teams, and Atlanta's already got him for 4, and 3 of those earned earlier this season. So, again, -$2. That's pretty steep. We'll take the Braves on the run line tonight, coming back -$1.20 against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
We liked first play of the week from this side. I am going under 7.5 runs in Angels versus Rays. Got this at -125 odds, 6:10 first pitch from St. Petersburg. And both of these offenses not performing recently, not really on the whole season. Both of these teams rank in the bottom 8 of runs per game, and the starting pitching is encouraging. If you look at the numbers, the Rays will start Jeffrey Springs. He has a 2.52 ERA on the season, and he's been throwing well lately in his transition to the rotation out of the bullpen for Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, Tucker Davidson has an ERA of 6.75. He'll make his third start with the Angels after starting the year with the Braves, and he's been also playing a little bit better as of late. He's coming off a good outing last Sunday when he allowed 2 runs over 6 innings of work against the Twins. Also looking at the trends here, the under is 5-1 in the past 6 road games for the Angels, and the under is also 4-1 in the last 5 home games for the Rays. I like those trends. I like those numbers. Give me the under in St. Petersburg tonight.
The St. Louis Cardinals, perhaps Major League Baseball's hottest team, they travel to the north side of Chicago tonight to face the Cubbies. Total in this one is 8, a 7:05 Central first pitch is what you're looking at. The Cardinals favored about $1.65 or so in this one. Jordan Montgomery for St. Louis. He will square off against Drew Smiley for the Cubs. Former SEC matchup here. Montgomery, South Carolina. Drew Smiley, Arkansas. The Cardinals, mentioned potentially the hottest team in Major League Baseball. They've won 7 games in a row and 13 of 17 overall. Jordan Montgomery has been fantastic for St. Louis since coming over from the Yankees. How about 3 starts in Cardinal red, just 1 earned run in 16 2/3 innings. Expect him to keep rolling tonight. Drew Smiley, he's been pitching quite well for the Cubbies. Just 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Those were against the Marlins, the Reds, and the Nationals. The Cardinals are certainly a much stiffer test, and they absolutely crush left-handed pitching. We've talked about it over and over and over again. Drew Smiley will bring it from the left side. St. Louis 30-10 straight up in their last 40 against lefties. We're backing Montgomery and this Cardinals lineup versus a lefty. We're taking them on the run line, -1.5. Coming back about -105. Got it at even money earlier, so keep an eye on it. It might hang around that range, or you might even be able to get even money a little bit later. But right now, -105, Cardinals on the run line versus the Cubbies.
Last play of the day for me, my daily prop bet. I'm looking at over 5.5 strikeouts for Edward Cabrera of the Marlins going up against the Athletics tonight. Got this at -125. Late first pitch from Oakland over there, 9:40 is when this game starts. And I've kind of made this comment to you in passing, Musso, getting ready for the show. The Marlins, not a very good team. They're 52-69, but they have some good pitchers on the team. And Edward Cabrera, definitely one of them. He enters this start with a 1.78 ERA and a 3-1 record on the year. He also has 36 strikeouts over 30 innings pitched this season. That's a really good clip. He also gets to face the Athletics tonight, which is a good thing for this prop. The A's have the 11th highest strikeout rate in the majors, and Cabrera has gone over this number in 4 out of his last 6 starts. Good enough for me. Give me over 5.5 strikeouts for Edward Cabrera.
That is our daily spread here on Monday, August the 22nd. It is brought to you by Suspense Games, suspenseevents.com. Our guys will be at Smiling Dog tonight for trivia. Pub Olympics Disney theme tonight at the Smiling Dog gets underway at 6:30 Central Time p.m. Get a team together, get out there, check out our guys, Suspense Games. If you can't make it, you have a couple other trivia opportunities this week, of course, that we'll let you know about, but you can also book them to come to you, right? Traveling Trivia Game Show. Told you tonight's trivia night is Disney themed. They can do the same thing for a show for you. Any theme that you want, music, pop culture, movies, whatever your desire, they can make happen. Suspense Games, suspenseevents.com.
All right, Disney night. We like it. I was watching Beauty and the Beast last night. Hadn't watched that in a long time. One of the dressers crushed one of Gaston's guys to death in one of those scenes. I thought that was a little extreme, but anyway, and anywho, shout out to our hosts, Tyler and Spencer Hunt, and a shout out to Robert, who handles all the technology. If you're looking for an extra competitive game night, some unique team building, or you want to take your party to a whole new level, Suspense Games is always ready to bring that live game show experience right to you. They have lights, they have podiums, they have confetti. It's just like you're on television. So if you're looking to upgrade your game night, check them out at suspenseevents.com and upgrade your game night tonight with Suspense Games.
We will grab our first break of the show. Come back on the other side. We're talking Saints. Thoughts on preseason game number 2, an update from today's practice in Metairie. That's next. Early Line, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the early line. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap Saints-Packers and the latest from LSU's weekend fall camp. Join us Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Saints lose their second preseason game over the weekend, 20-10 against the Packers on Friday night. Just one preseason game to go against the Chargers on Friday inside of the Caesars Superdome. Let's break this game down, Musso. I thought both of the rookies, the first-round rookies, played really well for the Saints. Both Trevor Penning and Chris Olave, who got his first NFL touchdown. Danny Etling ran wild for the Packers. That was fun to watch, I guess. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I'll tell you what. With your point about Penning, I thought the pass blocking was better this week than it was the week prior. He was out there again, running with first-team offensive line, especially definitely through walkthroughs today for the New Orleans Saints. So, like what you saw there. Thought Caden Ellis had a really nice game. Maybe the stats don't show it, but 55 was around the football an awful lot. And as they continue to search for help at linebacker, behind DeMario Davis, behind Pete Werner, Caden Ellis is obviously a name there. Chase Hansen got in there, but he obviously wasn't 100%. I mean, he got nicked a little bit in the joint practices, gave it a go, and you saw him a little bit there. Malcolm Roach, outside of that inexplicable roughing the passer on 3rd and 19, played a really, really solid game. I mean, after that, he was just constantly in the backfield for the Saints, so he stuck out as well. And I thought Chris Olave, man, look, the double move there at the inside the red zone to score the touchdown was fantastic. Great to see that, first of many, you would imagine, for the rookie in a New Orleans Saints uniform. And also defensively, one more note on them. When the Packers got 1st and goal inside the 10 and were held to a field goal, that is just a massively welcome sign. And it was not anywhere close to being the first-team defense out there. The depth that the Saints have shown so far defensively has been really, really encouraging for a unit that many already expected to be pretty darn good, but I think you're just the expectations just ratcheting up watching them preseason.
For sure, and you definitely see that depth along the defensive line, I think. Like you said, Roach was awesome. My color guy always points out that LSU apparently didn't want him, a native of Baton Rouge. He went to Texas, had a nice little college career, but he's been really consistent for the Saints whenever he has gotten in the game over the years, whether that's been preseason or the regular season. And Taco Charlton's a guy that I don't think is going to make the team, honestly, but I think he had a really good audition for maybe his next NFL team. He looked like he belonged out there. And Tano Passanio might not be playing the right sport. That dude is giant, 6'7", 280 pounds. Like, he looks like he could be a really good power forward in the NBA or something. But the defensive line to me really popped. Like you said, Hansen continues to play really well. And Chris Olave getting in the end zone is major for me. Like you said, hopefully it's the first of many. In that first game, there were some clips of him running routes and getting open against the Texans, but he didn't have any catches. So it was nice to pull in 2 for 28 yards. He got in the end zone, and it was a timely touchdown too. Really good play. I thought he showed strong hands. He made the adjustment, and it is funny to see him break the plane. He's clearly already scored, but then he still leaps for good measure. Like, he still needs to get the pylon there or something with the ball. So that was fun to watch. Hopefully it's the first of many. And I do want to give a shout out to Will Lutz before we forget, because the fact that they even tried a 59-yard field goal, I think is a good idea. You want to get him back in regular season form, and he hit that thing right down the middle. Like, he had several yards to spare. It was good to see Will Lutz back looking like Will Lutz.
Yeah, for sure. No, special teams in general were great for the New Orleans Saints on Friday night. Will Lutz, obviously, with the 59-yarder, like you said, and it was good from over 60. He had the wind with him, it's worth noting, but for him to just crush that thing dead center is thank God he's back. I mean, it's such a that was really the moment for me that I'm just like, man, Will Lutz, I'm glad you're back, watching him do that. You had Gillikin with an 81-yard punt in the game. You saw some really nice things in the return game, whether it was Kirk Merritt on the kickoff. Tony Jones Jr. had a really nice kickoff return that was brought back for penalty. That's kind of a theme for Tony Jones, unfortunately, on Friday night. I thought he had a really nice game. For the second straight week, he ran hard. He didn't put the ball on the ground for the second straight week. The other play that really sticks out, I believe it was in the second quarter. He took one around the left side. It was to the far side of the field. And it was a first down run, and it got brought back because of penalty. So thought he had a really, really nice night. And then special teams kind of as a whole, return game, punting, and, of course, Will Lutz. Just overall a major positive for the Saints on Friday night in a losing effort.
I know it's still weird for some people to see Dennis Allen out there on the sideline, but he looks natural to me out there. He looks like he belongs. And little things, maybe they're not too consequential in the end, but I like that he had a successful challenge there on a play that was originally ruled a completed pass. It was clearly incomplete. He challenged it. You saw him right there the whole time. He was ready to pull the red flag out, and I like to see that. And also on the kick that we just mentioned by Lutz, the 59-yarder, I like how Dennis Allen called the timeout right before the end of the quarter to ensure that the Saints still had the wind at their back, and that helped Will Lutz make that kick. Maybe that's a little too, attention to detail for some people being in the preseason, but I like seeing that kind of thing from Dennis Allen. Like I said, he really looks like he belongs out there as the head coach of the Saints. And to your point about the running backs, I thought Tony Jones did have a really, really, really good game. It's not going to show as much on the stats, but not just catching the ball, not just running the ball, but on special teams, he made a few nice tackles, and he had a really nice blitz pickup on Ian Book one time when he ran for a first down on a scramble drill. So I did like to see that from Tony Jones. I think Abram Smith is not really living up to the expectations that a lot of us had for him going in. I know he had a good camp, but in the preseason games, he hasn't really separated himself. And unfortunately, he is looking like a practice squad guy right now, because I think Tony Jones is ahead of him. I think Dwayne Washington is ahead of him, both as a running back and as a staple on special teams. But I do like to see Tony Jones playing a little bit better, carrying over what he's been doing in training camp. And he had good blocking the whole time. Trevor Penning, Cesar Ruiz both had a really good game against Green Bay.
Yeah, no, I think Tony Jones is your guy behind Kamara and Ingram. I really do. He got the opportunity last year, and we know what happened, but he just fits what the Saints want to do offensively so well. He's good in blitz pickup, like you said. He's versatile enough to run in between the tackles downhill, but also catch the ball out of the backfield and make you pay in space. And you obviously see that as well with what he can do in the return game. Now, look, am I telling you he's going to be the returner for the Saints? Probably not. You still have Deontay Hardy, and he's going to make this team largely because he is an all-pro returner and also just the threat of stretching the field. But really like what I've seen from Tony Jones Jr. throughout this preseason. Very reminiscent of last year. That got him a spot on the 53. I think this one ultimately will too, provided nothing catastrophic happens. I'm with you on Abram Smith. Doesn't feel like a 53-man guy. Probably will be cut and then signed to the practice squad or something along those lines. Maybe even kind of the same thing for Dwayne Washington, although he does have special teams value as you've seen in the past there. So right now, I think Tony Jones is the guy. Ian Book, any strong feelings on that? I mean, it's kind of just the same thing. I mean, he's going to be cut and probably signed to the practice squad eventually.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the people of Baton Rouge are kind of over the Ian Book talk and breakdown of his play. But I will say, I thought he showed some toughness out there. He didn't have very much help from his offensive line. He took some hits, and he kind of hung in there. I thought he had some good drives towards the end there when he was still in. He's going to be a practice squad guy. Again, he's somebody who is probably going to give the Saints hopefully a good look in practice, and I don't think the Saints feel too threatened by another team picking him up. Like, it pretty much is what it is with Ian Book. But I will say I saw Andy Dalton at practice yesterday, and Jameis being out there was a story. Him being on 7-7s, participating. We could talk about that, but Andy Dalton, I thought, had a really good practice yesterday in front of the fans in the Superdome. And although Ian Book is going to continue to get reps and Saints fans won't like seeing that, you do got to feel good about having Jameis Winston in the toe as a starter and having Andy Dalton right behind him if anything were to go down, because he has shown in the preseason and throughout practice, throughout training camp, that he is capable of coming in and holding it down for the Saints for a little while if he had to do that.
For sure. No, you definitely have the capable backup, and that's something the Saints have had the last few years, and you've needed it the last few years, so that definitely makes you feel great. I loved, kind of not seeing him at all against the Packers. There was no reason. He got plenty of reps during the week with the first team against Green Bay because Jameis was still, only going out there for routes on air or whatnot. Great news. Jameis did participate in 11-on-11 team drills today, which is fantastic. DA said looked a little rusty, but that's to be expected. Anytime you get a guy back from injury, it's a good thing, and Jameis is there. So you definitely like the direction of quarterback. The other thing to talk about is Michael Thomas, and a bit of a hamstring injury is what Dennis Allen called it Sunday after practice. How you feel? You nervous?
Nah, you would think I'd be freaking out, huh? But I think when something like this happens, Michael Thomas ramping himself up after not playing meaningful football in almost 2 years, you can kind of expect something like this. And hopefully it isn't serious. Anytime something's going to happen with Mike Thomas, people are going to freak out, and rightfully so, because he has not played in such a long time, because he has had so many injuries, some that he himself mismanaged. But again, somebody who hasn't played in a long time is ramping himself up, getting ready to play, had some really physical practices against Green Bay last week. Something like that is kind of likely to happen. So I'm definitely not saying it's insignificant, but hopefully it is a little hamstring issue, just like Dennis Allen is calling it, and he's not missing any time in the regular season, because they still have a couple of weeks before they have to play Atlanta.
I don't think he will miss any time in the regular season. I think Michael Thomas is probably still on track to play Week 1, September 11th against the Falcons. What you can also kind of take from this is it's probably fairly far along. I mean, this is probably something that happened in those joint practices either Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe in the walkthrough on Thursday, maybe, but I doubt he pulled a hamstring or tweaked a hamstring in a walkthrough. Maybe he did, but I doubt it. So obviously he wasn't going to play Friday, so he didn't do it then, and he didn't practice on Sunday, so he didn't do it then. So it kind of narrows it down to either probably Tuesday or Wednesday in the joint practice. So it's something that they've been dealing with and have probably been pretty far along on, which is a very good sign when you look at it too. No, it's not anything that I would be, overly concerned about right now, because you do still have 2 weeks left, and he's not the only one that has a little nagging injury right now. There's a lot of them in camp right now. Dennis Allen said as much today when asked about the laundry list of guys who missed practice today. He said, well, part of it is you've reached that point in camp where you just have nicks and bruises, and you'd rather have them just sit instead of, sit and get better and work to being 100% than go out there and possibly exacerbate it. So I think Michael Thomas falls into that category.
At the end of the day, I don't think it's a huge deal, but I do kind of wish it would be a perfect world situation where Jameis and Michael Thomas specifically could just both get some more reps together, because those guys have not played very much meaningful football together at all. And throughout training camp, they've had to deal with Jameis's nagging injury. They've had to deal with Mike's nagging injury. And eventually, I don't think it will be too big of a deal, but I do think you will see little moments throughout the season where they're off by just a second, or they miscommunicated just a little bit. And by the end, it'll be more fine-tuned, but they do need to establish that chemistry a little bit. And I think Saints fans need to be patient with what they see at the beginning of the season. By the end, I think Mike Thomas, Jameis Winston will be clicking, and hopefully the entire Saints offense will be clicking.
Yeah, I mean, look, you like what you saw from the Saints offense, or especially early when you had the ones in there against the Texans. You had Pete Carmichael calling plays. Pete wasn't calling plays on Friday night, so and the offense did not look as crisp. And obviously Ian Book was in there, so it's really tough to make assessments about the Saints offense when Ian Book is the quarterback, and also when Pete Carmichael is not calling plays.
No, I'm ready to see Jameis Winston. And I don't want to overreact to practice, but you can tell when Jameis, even when he's coming back from injury now, he throws a really pretty deep ball. And he gives the Saints a dimension that they didn't have the last few years without Breeze. Straight up. You even saw some of that last year with the deep balls to Harris and others. He needs to work on his short game, his intermediate game. But if Jameis does make leaps there, he has potential to be a really, really, really good, consistent quarterback in the NFL and really take the Saints to the promised land. You do see the arm talent with Jameis, but the decision-making, the short and intermediate game, that's what needs to improve. But if it does, watch out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Saints getting ready to take on the Chargers in their final preseason game on Friday. Then the real deal starts. They open the season at the Atlanta Falcons, week 1 of the NFL season. The Saints were a 5-point favorite in that game the last time I checked it out. Might want to get on that before that line moves any more than it already has. This is a Monday edition of the Early Line. On the other side of this break, we will recap another scrimmage for LSU football as the Tigers getting ready for their season to start. This is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Me, Jimmy Ott, and Charles Henniger for the Monday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're live from Spoke and Hub on Government Street. Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m., 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Mario. Just recapped some Saints practice and obviously preseason game number 2 in the last segment. Let's shift focus to the LSU Tigers now, who were off today, off yesterday. We'll get back on the floor, or excuse me, get back on the field tomorrow, but did have a practice in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. Now, obviously, the news Saturday that really dominated was revolving around John Emery, and that John Emery will miss the first 2 games of this season, stemming from the same issues that cost him all of last year. Like, it's still last year that's creeping up. So you're looking at a total of 15 games now for John Emery, which is just, it's ridiculous. But and here's one reason why. The guy has fixed the issue. Like, he's Brian Kelly talked about it in the spring. He's worked hard. He's made all the progress needed and has done everything from a football perspective, especially for them. It's just things outside of their control right now. 15 games for academics is ridiculous, but it's the NCAA, and you kind of really expect nothing else other than ridiculousness from here on. Appeals process, hopefully, but I mean, going forward, you assume you won't have him for Florida State. You won't have him for Southern. Southern, inconsequential, largely. Not having him for Florida State is definitely bigger, but with what you've seen from Noah Cain and Armani Goodwin, especially the last few practices for LSU, you do feel good there, but it's definitely a hit to your running back depth, which LSU really doesn't have a whole bunch of when you get past those first four guys. So in this case, first three for the first few games. But largely unfortunate because he's worked really hard to get back up to that standard and has by all accounts. It's just still hanging out from last year, which is just stupid.
Definitely seems like cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, 15 games. If he has gotten better, you should think that it would be fair. You would think that it would be fair for him to be ready to start the season, and that's just way too long. But I will say that if it is only 2 games, you at least know he's going to be back in the fold, and you could still kind of achieve all your individual goals if you're John Emery, and you can definitely benefit from having him back if you're LSU. I mean, he has 566 career rushing yards. He's still in a situation where he could hopefully surpass that in this season alone. And like you said, you do have a little bit of depth there. You still have Noah Cain in the fold. You still have Goodwin. And I think Josh Williams bears mentioning too. He's somebody who has played multiple years of SEC football. Having him in that room will help in that first game. But it is unfortunate. It is a sucky situation for John Emery because he's already missed so much time. But honestly, when I heard Brian Kelly initially talking about it, I fear that it could maybe be a little bit worse than this, not knowing the specifics of the rule and the suspension. But it is way too long. It is way too much time for him to miss, in my opinion. But still having him for 10 games of the season is a good situation for LSU.
That it is. And hopefully there's, something that could be done in the next 13 days, but we'll see. The other big thing really surrounding is obviously quarterback, right? I mean, that's still there. They made some changes on the offensive line Saturday that we can get to, but quarterback is huge. And Brian Kelly was asked again, any separation, and he said it's 2-man race, which is not a surprise to anybody, right? I mean, everybody understood that Walker Howard was going to take that red shirt and be the emergency guy, if you get to that point. Hopefully LSU doesn't, because that'd mean 2 guys are already injured. But 2-man race, Nuss, Daniels. Brian Kelly said it's close, but also kind of went through some of the things that each guy's been doing well. And at the end of the answer said, it's a decision we want to make quickly. It's a decision they're going to make by the end of this week. Yeah. I feel very confident in saying that. I mean, obviously, look, you don't want to let that to linger into game week. So it's something they will have decided at least by the end of this week. And it's something I wouldn't be surprised if it's decided after tomorrow's practice when it's another kind of full-length type scrimmage scale practice. That's going to be a huge one in deciding. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's done after that. It will absolutely be done before the end of this week because you don't want to linger into game week. And I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. It's just the experience factors there. When you listen to Brian Kelly talk about the 2 guys, it's not that he's not complimentary of Nussmeier. He is. It's just that he's so complimentary of Jaden Daniels. More time in the answer is spent on Jaden Daniels. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. I don't really think that I am. And the experience factor is something that I don't think you can really outweigh. The guys started 30 games in college.
Yeah, nothing's really changed from the last time we talked about this. I think ultimately he is named the starter against Florida State. What I will say is the returns that I've heard on Walker Howard have been really encouraging. The people that are out there at practice say he throws a really good ball, and Brian Kelly's been really complimentary of him. He's just said he doesn't have the experience that Daniels and Nussmeier do. And I think that if you're a fan of Nussmeier, if you want him to eventually start a quarterback for LSU, you shouldn't be too discouraged either because he's definitely still in the mix, and he apparently is practicing really, really well also. But Jaden Daniels has the experience. Jaden Daniels has the mobility. He can get outside the pocket. He has the escapability that the other 2 guys in that quarterback room doesn't have. And I think that this coaching staff really, really values that, especially when you are talking about an offensive line that's had to experience so many changes and one that might need to kind of come along as the season goes on. So I do think it's going to be Jaden Daniels, but that's definitely subject to change. It could be a situation where LSU loses a game sometime during the season, and then they want to switch some things up, and they go with Garrett Nussmeier the next game. So this is something that's going to be fluent, but as far as the first game, I do think it's going to be Jaden Daniels out there leading LSU.
That's something else Brian Kelly mentioned when talking about the quarterbacks after practice on Saturday, was that there's a chance you do see both of them play at some point this season. Just because, I mean, it is, I think both of the options are very good options. Like that's not the problem. Would you like to see one guy take hold of the job and just, maintain it for the entire season? Absolutely. I mean, of course you would, but that's not always in the cards, and injuries happen and things of that nature. So, no, I think there's a very good chance you do see both guys at some point this season. Not necessarily a 2-quarterback system, but see both of them get their time.
For sure. And maybe I am sleeping on Jaden Daniels a little bit. Like, he was really good from the pocket and running around as a freshman. Since then, he kind of regressed, and a lot of people that are high on him seem to think that at LSU, with the running game that they have, if and when John Emery's back in the fold, with much better receivers than he had at Arizona State, and hopefully a good defense and special teams to lean on, he can be really effective. But coming in, I know Brian Kelly and Denbrock talked about him having to improve his footwork if he was going to be a starter in the SEC. So I'm really curious how he's going to do from this first game against Florida State, a team whose defense is not too shabby. From what I see, their front seven can get after it. They might force Jaden Daniels to show that escapability a little bit. So I am curious to see how he does in this system from the very beginning.
Offensive line-wise, I mean, everybody's focusing so much on the center position, and with good reason. Brian Kelly was very complimentary of Garrett Dellinger after the practice on Saturday. No trouble with the snap, which is good, because it was a situation where he had everything on his plate again, right? I mean, he's trying to block Mason Smith or Jacobian Guillory or Jaquelin Roy across from him while calling out fronts while snapping the ball, which did give him problems earlier in the week, last week. Anytime he's just been asked to snap it, it's been fine. But when they've actually asked the guy to play center, which is what they're grooming him to do, that's when it's become a little tougher. No surprise there, obviously, especially having to block the guys that he's blocking. But good to hear that he kind of took a step forward Saturday. And then you were able to see Cam Wire at right tackle and kick Bradford down inside. So there was a little bit of shuffling along the offensive line, which is interesting to me. It seemed like they were, and I still think if they had to play a game right now today, you would see Will Campbell, from left to right, Will Campbell, Tremont Shorts, Garrett Dellinger, Miles Frazier, and Anthony Bradford. That's just the line you've seen most often with the first team. Yes, they did shake it up a little bit. I mentioned Cam Wire getting some run. You've also heard some praise for Emory Jones. You've also heard some praise for Marcus Dumerville coming back now as well, and Charles Turner still being even in the mix at a few positions there. But so you saw some shake up, but I do think if they had to go out there, roll the ball, play it today, from left to right, you'd see Campbell, Shorts, Dellinger, Frazier, and Bradford, just because that's what you've seen most often as the first team line in camp.
I would think so too. And it's good to hear that Dellinger's doing better. He was struggling, I know, with a lot of the pre-snap stuff, because not only does he have to snap the ball, immediately block the guy in front of him, but he's responsible for diagnosing a lot of stuff before the snap, and apparently he's been struggling with that a little bit. And that's something else that, as the season goes on, LSU's offensive line might get a lot better in that type of situation. I know they struggled out of the gate against UCLA in the first game last year, and you might see a little bit of that this season. But it is good to see Dellinger out there improving, and Emory Jones is a guy that's going to play eventually too. I love the returns we're hearing on him. He's definitely going to find his way on the field for LSU, I think, early and often. And Mason Taylor apparently continues to play really well. Love to hear that. He's somebody who I think is going to have to get acclimated as far as blocking early on, but receiving, he's going to make an impact. And that's good for Brian Kelly's offense, who likes to feature tight ends.
It's another weapon, which, I mean, LSU's got plenty of weapons in the passing game, and it seems like Mason Taylor is going to be another one. And that is fantastic, because there were so many question marks surrounding that position. And, yeah, maybe he'll have to get a little bit better blocking, but you like what you've kind of seen from Cole Taylor in that realm. You like what you've seen from Jack Mashburn when it comes to blocking. The issue is you need somebody who can do both, right? You don't want to come predictable. Oh, well, when Jack Mashburn's in there, you know they're not going to throw the ball to him. You want somebody who can do both. And Mason Taylor gets a little bit better at the blocking, because you know he's going to be an impacted player in the passing game.
Yeah, and I feel like we should mention the suspension to Ray Darius Jones, because he's going to have to miss the whole season now. And we've been talking secondary cornerbacks a lot. That was a really scary position for LSU early in the offseason. They've kind of built some depth there, so maybe it's not too big of a deal, but I did appreciate Raydarius Jones towards the end of last season. He was put in some tough spots, and he played some really good football for LSU when the defense was improving, when their games became a little more watchable there on the back end of the season. And I do like the numbers that LSU has there with some of the transfers coming in and some of the returners, but I do feel bad for Raydarius Jones having to miss the whole season.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. I mean, I don't think it's a hit to your depth. Obviously, you're losing a guy there, but you weren't hearing much about Raydarius Jones when it came to cornerback in camp. You weren't. So I mean,
I just really respected the guys towards the end of last year.
For sure.
Like John Trey Kirkland, shout out, who got another touchdown in the preseason in the NFL.
For the Cardinals, yes.
It showed a lot of character for those guys towards the end of last season. They did some really good stuff. Held Alabama to 6 rushing yards. Had a really good outing against Arkansas too, although they lost that game. So I have respect for people like Raydarius Jones, who did really, really commendable in a tough situation.
For sure, it's not meant as a shot by any means. It's just that they knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not. He wasn't a big part of what they were doing, and this is likely why. It's just, I mean, unlike last year where you find out game week, this staff kind of they knew. So I mean, it's okay. I mean, you got a lot of numbers there. Colby Richardson continues to get shouted out, and Mekhi Garner. You love what you have in Jarnard Converse. Seven Banks is coming along. Like, you have guys there. Jalen Davis Robinson, the freshman, the Terrence Welsh, the freshman, Jordan Allen just got back out onto the field this week as well. So you still feel pretty good. It is a hit to the depth, and it's unfortunate that it had to go. Unfortunately, it happens in the way of a suspension, but you feel a lot better now. Brian Kelly said after practice on Saturday they have 6 different cornerbacks competing, so that's still really good depth.
Yeah, good to see. Florida State game getting close, man. Less than 2 weeks.
We will grab a break, come back on the other side, close out a Monday edition of Early Line right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Early Line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap Saints Packers and the latest from LSU's weekend fall camp. Join us Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up the show here on a Monday, let's take a look at today's Citizens Bank poll of the day. The question posed to the audience had to do with college football. Who is under more pressure to have a good football season? Is it Clemson? 93.6% of the audience says it is the Aggies of Texas A&M. Only 6.4% think that Dabo Swinney and the Tigers are under more pressure. And honestly, the reason I decided to make this today's poll was because of a tweet I saw from the Southeastern Conference, the official @SEC Twitter handle. And this is getting a lot of traction. You'll see the picture, Musso, and I think you'll immediately. He captured the Habmeyer Trophy at the 122nd U.S. Amateur, but he also looks just like Dabo Swinney. And a lot of people have been having fun with that tweet.
He does look like Dabo a little bit. That's crazy. If Dabo was a really good golfer, obviously, and sported A&M gear. But there's definitely, it's the eyes. In the eyes, for sure, is where I see it the most. That's wild. I didn't see that. I saw that Sam Bennett won the U.S. Amateur, but I did not see didn't see his picture.
Yeah, a lot of side to sides, a lot of comparisons. He looks just like Dabo. But going back to the question posed by the poll, I agree with the audience. I do think it's Texas A&M. I think Clemson does have a lot to prove this year. You know, first year without Brett Venables at the helm, defensive coordinator. He was there forever. But we talked about Texas A&M on Win Total Wednesday. Like, just win 9 games, dude. They're not asking for very much down there. And based on expectations, based on recruiting class, it's a big enough sample size now where you can say they have underachieved. So maybe the base expectation isn't to make the playoff like it is for Clemson, but I do think they are under more pressure as we're having kind of a first take topic here to perform here in 2022.
No, I agree. For me, it's A&M. Number 1 recruiting class, best recruiting class in history, top 10 bowl. Game. Wow. It's time at a between Jimbo and him in winning percentage. So there's a lot of pressure. I mean, I don't think by any stretch of the there is pressure because you have to at least improve. It's going to have a good year. Should be back in the playoff. The ACC, while good, is not nearly as strong as the SEC West, so there's plenty of opportunity for them there. I mean, remember, keep in mind, they could not move the ball last year offensively. They went 10-3. they're going to have a good year.
Yeah, almost beat Georgia, too, technically. One-score game, held them to 10 points, only scored 3 yourself, but the defense was there for Clemson. We'll see if it maintains that level post-Brett Venables, but I do think they will be right there towards the end. Can't say the same about Texas A&M. That'll do it for us here today. We'll be back tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. We'll go out to Las Vegas to talk to Rafael Esparza. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for AFR. Coming up next, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.